Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. This is a video about why you should make your developer portfolio using a static site generator, okay? I'm not saying that all your projects are all going to be using a static site generator. It's not bad for freelance for sure, especially if you learn how to use something like Headless CMS to kind of create a way for your clients to interact with their website, allowing you to provide some pretty low-cost websites to your clients, allowing you to have a higher profit margin versus having to pay like for more robust hosting to have a back end with like a WordPress or something like that, or to pay for like a service like Contentful, Butter CMS, etc., which are pretty awesome, but they do come with a price. Okay. So what a static site generator does is that it'll take your JavaScript code. It takes, you design your website in your favorite framework. So if you like Vue, you like Grid. If you like Vue, you like Svelte, you like Angular, you like React. There is a static site generator for you. And they generally allow you to, if you set them up right, you can actually make it where you can add content via Markdown posts. Or Markdown files, which makes life really easy because Markdown files are much easier to write than HTML files because it's just basic formatting. So what I've done is that I've taken all the major static site generators and made one tool. So if you go to my list of libraries, so here on my website, alexmercedcoder.com, if you head over to my libraries, which is this right here, okay, you click on that. That's going to take you to this list of libraries. So these are all the different libraries I've created over the time I've been a developer. Good. It's going to be the very last one. A lot of other cool, fun stuff here if you want to look around. Okay. And this create Markdown blog. Okay. Go over the NPM. And what this does is it can generate one of 6 templates. So if you're into React, Gatsby and Nuxt are the static site generators that really focus on using React to do the code. It then turns your React code into just, plain old JavaScript. So like my portfolio website is like you just saw, it was done using Next.js, and actually my blog is done in Gatsby. If you're a Vue user, or you know how to use Vue, Gridsome is like Gatsby but for Vue. Nuxt is like Next but for Gatsby. Nuxt is like Next but for Vue. Okay, they pretty much work almost the same way. Again, there's minor differences just because Vue and React work differently. There are some really cool things in Gridsome that I liked over the way they're done in Gatsby. So I kind of like how that one kind of plays out if you kind of get into the nuts and bolts of it. But that's if you want to use Vue to create your pages. And again, at the end of the day, the beauty of static site generators is you're not actually at the end of the day shipping Vue, React per se. It's going to take most of your website and turn it into static HTML, CSS, JavaScript files. So there's as little client-side rendering as possible. There's little rendering server-side or client-side. So literally when your user goes to your website, they're just pulling a website that's already been pre-built, which is going to be faster, more secure, better search engine optimizations, because it's going to be easier for search engine crawlers to actually search your website for text. And again, having a more search engine-friendly portfolio is a good thing. So this is why this is a nice thing to do. Okay, Sapper if you like Svelte. So if you like Svelte as a front-end framework, I like Svelte quite a bit. Sapper is their static site generator, server side generator. Basically, Sapper is the equivalent of Nuxt and Next, but for Svelte. Angular just has kind of one big one, Scully, which is fairly different than all of them. The template should make it pretty straightforward to use if you like Angular. So if you're a Angular user and you want to build your portfolio / Markdown blog using Angular, there's a Scully template. And again, all these templates, I put a README file that tells you, okay, where do you put the Markdown files? Where are the template files for you to edit to change how it appears? And all that jazz. And then otherwise, you can just find the documentation for that particular framework to go even deeper. Okay, but I would first just focus on like testing out the blog feature and the design. Okay, but again, that's called create Markdown blog, and basically the way it works is just npx create Markdown blog. You put in the name of the template, which could be any of these: Gatsby, Next, Gridsome, Nuxt, Sapper, Scully, and then the name of the folder that you wanted to clone. Or you could also do it this way: npm init Markdown blog, and then you would put in these same 2 arguments afterwards. So it would be like npm init Markdown blog, let's say Sapper my portfolio. Okay. Cool. And then that's that's that. Now, again, another benefit of having the Markdown blog attached to your portfolio website, one, this gives you an incentive to write blog posts. But every blog post, since it's a Markdown file, and generally the way you'll deploy this is to like Netlify or Vercel. And basically what'll happen is you'll deploy the website, it'll run the build command, it'll rebuild the website, and then deploy it. Every time you create a new blog post, it counts as an update to your website, which is good for search engine optimization. It's two, I'm going to encourage you to write more Markdown, which is going to make life easier when you go to write documentation for your projects because you're just more used to writing Markdown files. Three, they count as Git commits, okay, because you're committing to your GitHub, so you're improving your GitHub heat map quite a bit. So creating your portfolio website in this manner is actually to your benefit. Okay, so I highly recommend doing that. Going back, rebuilding your portfolio, using one of these frameworks. Again, just use whatever. Then bottom line, it doesn't really matter which framework you're comfortable with. Just use the one that you're comfortable with. Even if you haven't used these frameworks before, if you're familiar with that front end library, then that'll be good. If you're not really that familiar with using any of these like React, Angular, then you can go to JAMStack.org. Okay, let me just put my coffee to the side. JAMStack.org. This is actually the website about JAMStack. JAMStack is this whole idea of like, doing static site generation, using headless CMSs, really trying to create these websites that are more search engine friendly, more secure, more faster, because you're only rendering, the only dynamic rendering, whether server side or client side is going on, is what is needed, not what is not needed. So you're going to have lower costs of hosting. It's like there's all these benefits. You can read it on the website. The more I learn about this, the more I'm into it. But there's lots of site generators other than the 6 that I just listed. So you can go here and figure out, okay, what's your preferred way of writing your templates? Okay, so you can figure out like here, like list all the language templates. So you see what you like. So if you're like from PHP and you like writing Blade templates, okay, here's some choices. Okay, if you're like you do a lot of Python, Django, and you've written stuff in Jinja, you can find ones that do it in Jinja, and you write your templates in Jinja. However you want to do it. You can find the one that fits you, fits the language you like. I generally recommend, like, probably if you're a front-end developer, you probably know one of those 4 front-end frameworks that I mentioned earlier. So it just makes more sense to do it with one of those. But there are lots and lots and lots of options. And if you do need to save some data in the back end, there are headless CMSs. Okay, and these basically replace the need to build out your own custom backend. Netlify CMS is a little bit more complicated, definitely highly worth learning. Now these ones that say open source means you can host it yourself, so you can download the source code, spin up this thing, it basically builds the app for you, so you don't actually have to build the app. It'll just have a dashboard right away, you can add your data, and then you can pull the data in your front end using an API. And then there's like hosted ones that are not, ones that don't say open source are Git-based, API-driven, any license, open source, closed source. So these are going to be ones where you have to use like a third-party website. Generally, there's like a subscription fee for higher level. This usually like a free tier, but there's a lot of them. Okay, so this website helps you kind of know all the different ones, all on one website. So I highly recommend getting familiar with this website, JAMStack.org. Getting familiar with what JAMStack is, because especially if you're in the freelancing space, JAMStack is great for freelancing. It allows you to provide really sweet websites using tools that you're already used to, and that are going to be more search engines, faster, lower cost hosting, all the good stuff. So my name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy.